Hello, my name is Vishal. In this video, let's have a look on clipping mask tool. So I'll just go to the object and here you could see clipping mask option. Right now it is locked. I need to just first need to understand what that clipping mask is. So I'm going to create another shape here. It's a star. I'm going to put this on top of this particular image. So I've got one is star, which is a path filled with some red color, and behind that is a bitmap image, which is a Mona Lisa painting. So I'm going to select the top object, which is a path, and the bottom object, which is a bitmap image, and I'm going to choose now the clipping mask. If you could see, the clipping mask is unlocked now because I've selected two objects. It is not just two, you can select more than two also. So for that, to make it clipping mask work, I need to choose this option called make, or you can use a keyboard shortcut of Control 7. Okay. Now what that actually does is it will masks out that bitmap image. The bitmap image is on the back, that is masked, and it is masked by the foreground object, which is the star shaped path. So path is the star is now a clipping path. Okay. Now when you select that particular object and then go to the clipping mask and edit contents, it will allow me to edit the placement of that particular background image inside the path. So I need to carefully select in the middle and then just move it, and you should able to see that I am transforming the photograph inside the star without editing the star at all. Okay. By accidentally, if I select the star, I just move the star like that. I can do nothing in that. And also when I edit the shape, it's still in the control that you can change the shape of that using all that editing tools what you generally use for path editing. Once that is done, let's say if you want to release it, you can go to object, clipping mask, and release it, and it should work fine. So clipping mask is very simple to understand. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another scenario where I've got a rectangle and I'm going to fill it with the pattern here, and I'm going to draw another rectangle. So this is going to be another pattern. Okay, so I've got two rectangular shapes. Okay, and they are basically of different patterns. Okay, the patterns are completely different here. So these are the two shapes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the rounded rectangle and draw it in the center. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a red color for clear visibility, and also I can just make it round so that you can get something out of it. So there are three objects here. Okay, so one is the rounded rectangle in red color, it's on the top, and on the bottom we have two different objects, which is patterns. So I'm going to select the rounded rectangle and the pattern, then go to object, clipping mask, and make clipping mask, and you should able to see the clipping is achieved with the foreground red color rounded shape and the background the green color pattern. Now the point I want to tell is, whenever you're doing clipping masking, make sure that you are selecting the objects. Okay, if you don't select the object, like in this case I've not selected the brown object, brown pattern, it has not clipped the brown one. So now I'm selecting the red rectangle and the two patterns which are there in the background, and I'm applying clipping mask, and you should able to see, sorry, I have not selected, I guess. I'm going to select it and then apply clipping mask. You should able to see it has clipped both the patterns because I've selected the three objects here. So you need to select more than two. So when you select two, it is the top object, the clipping path, and the second object becomes the masked object. So if you got more than two shapes behind it, all will be trimmed. Okay, and when you are applying this clipping mask, okay, and if you want to release it, you can always go to object and then say release it. Okay, and it will release the clipping mask here. I'll show you the other ways to clipping mask here. So let me see the layers here. So in layers we have rectangle, and which is a red color one, and we have two patterns here, right? So I need to select the layer here. Okay, I'm not selecting anything in the canvas here, just selecting the layer 1. Okay, then go to the clipping mask, and what it will do is it will trim all the objects in the layer with the topmost object in the layers. Okay, so the arrangement of these layers is very important. Whichever is in the top, that has trimmed the bottom objects here. To release the layers, okay, from the clipping mask, I can select them and then click this button here to release the clipping mask. Okay, so that will release it. Again, I just go back, try it once again, but this time, just a minute. So what you are able to see here is again 3 objects here. Okay, so as I told you, just need to select them and then just apply the layer mask. Okay, sorry, clipping mask, and it will clip. And I was trying to tell you how to release it in a different way. I was not like I click this button, it released. Okay, that's fine. But the other way is you need to select this particular layer, which was actually the clipping path. Just select that and just drag it, okay, below. So you should see a thick blue line floating here when I'm dragging up and down. So bring it down, and the trimming is gone. I just have to move it on the top. It was not working when I did it on the bottom, so I just moved it on the top, moved it out of the group, and the clipping mask has released itself. Okay, again you could see that that's a group I was facing problem earlier. So just need to select that and then ungroup it, and it should generally release it. Okay, now the other way to clipping is when I'm selecting this all objects here and then I'm grouping it, that becomes a one group of object. Okay, so you know what is group, so I just grouped it, and there are 3 objects in it. If you select any group and then do clipping mask, you know what happens, the topmost object becomes a clipping path, and the topmost is like in the canvas. Okay, whichever is in the top, that object become the clipping path, and rest of them will be masked with that. Okay, so you can try using a text here. So I'm just selecting that, I'm typing a text. Okay, so select everything again, go to object, and then use clipping mask, and it will just clip it. Okay, so you can try it with the text also. And sometimes this situation can be like this. Let's say your design is going out of the canvas or the artboard. So what is that you are going to do if that is the case? So what you need to do is you need to create a rectangle. Okay, I'm just clicking anywhere in the canvas, and it will give me the dialog box here, and I'm entering 1920 pixels and 1080 pixels, which is going to be a precise canvas size, and I'm going to align it with the artboard and put it in the canvas. Now as I told you, selecting everything is very important. So select all the objects which you want to clip, including the topmost object. Okay, and then apply clipping mask, and the total design will be, you know, cropped or clipped out with that topmost layer. So this is a common issue where people generally go out of the artboard, the drawings go out of the artboard, and they want to only show up the part which is in the canvas. So you can use this technique if you wanted to.